Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Queers of Time podcast.
I'm Matt.
I'm James.
I'm Kenny.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast to talk about all the gay stuff in the Wheel of Time.
Because we're gay and we like the Wheel of Time.
Before we begin today's episode, we want to give a shout out to our feral venerator of soiree, Lurks. We would also like to give a shout out to Travis as well as Kevin for doing our transcripts and promo videos respectively. Well, in Travis's case, no respect.
Oh, my goodness.
Rude.
I know.
Well, I have respect for you, Travis.
Hey, it's my husband. I get to treat him like that.
Okay.
So, it looks like there's a fungus among us in a spooky forest. Is it the season finale of The Last of Us? Nope. It's just Moraine and Rand eating off to tickle the Dark One's eye as the rest of the Faldarans prepare for the Trolloc Titty Fest of a lifetime. Or something like that. Look, we're tired. So, join us today on Queers of Time as we talk about the fantastic finale of Wheel of Time Season 1.
I do love that you gave a shout out to the titty fade, because the titty fade is one of my favorite parts of the episode.
We haven't talked about him in a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, the titty fade only made in this...
Oh, you're talking... Okay, never mind.
I'm talking specifically the titty fade.
Okay, the capital T titty fade.
I will just start this episode by saying this is actually a two-part episode because we consider that there was a lot to say about this one and there was a lot to say about this season in general. So we're going to have a first episode that is only about the TV show with no spoiler for the book at all. And the next episode is going to be still about this episode and the season 1 in general, but with full book spoilers because there's so much to say there.
So much to say.
Even as I was putting in my notes, I was like, oh, I need to do some editing here because there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with our favorite moments for this episode. Who wants to get us started? Matt, I'm saying you have the intro, the cold open in it, so...
Yes, I loved the opening intro. The futuristic fantasy world was really fun, and I also love the effort they put into the Old Tongue. I've been studying both Norwegian and Italian on Duolingo and Babbel, and it's sort of like it's gotten me to think and listen more closely to different languages that aren't English, and I can tell that they used different declensions and tenses, and it wasn't just like slapping in some fantasy words. Like they really put so much effort into making an actual language with verb, subject, tense, and really just so much thought was put into it, and it was like an amazing, probably my favorite cold open, even though it's probably the least action one.
I think it's the nerdiest cold open ever.
Yeah, nerd alert.
Oh, 100%. Nerd alert, 100%. They did this for the nerds.
And yeah, they definitely had linguists working on that in order to make the Old Tongue make sense. Because we have a lot from the books, but it's not enough to make it a full speakable language.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you, Matt. I also put that as one of the cold open, specifically that last shot, that sort of wide shot that shows the city, and then the parallel shot to the one we get in episode 1 of exactly the same. I think it's exactly the same place, right?
Yeah.
But it's, like one is futuristic and I love it.
It makes me really wish they had done something similar to like the Eye of the World. So like when Rand and the Dark One confronted each other, like I would have loved to have seen like sort of like a reverse decay, like just a brief flashback of seeing what it looked like.
Yeah, exactly. A brief flashback to what it was in the Age of Legends.
Yeah.
So cool. The set was so cool.
Yeah, I appreciated it so much, and it's like it was a really good reminder of like, oh, this is it's a fantasy. This is post-apocalyptic fantasy, though. Mm-hmm. This is very specifically post-apocalyptic fantasy, and I hope that they keep bringing in those beats and mixing in the fantasy, like the super fantasy parts of it, but also like this used to be a very like technologically advanced world with magic.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it is amazing to see the Age of Legends being depicted because we never really see it in the books. So we see the downfall of it. We see the last little bits, but that's it. So it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Going chronologically, I think well, actually, no, we all said something, well, all of us with taste said something about Amalisa.
Yeah.
So
she was good.
It's like if they took Éowyn from The Lord of the Rings and said, what if she didn't have to deal with all of the gender bullshit?
Mm-hmm.
And then they did it, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the circle thing, that's a separate thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Amalisa doing what she did and leading that circle was 100% in character. It was exactly what she needed to do. She did what she thought she needed to do, and it was great.
Yeah.
And she died.
And then she died.
I will say that before the end of the circle scene, Amalisa up to then was a fantastic addition to the show.
She was still a fantastic addition to the show.
Okay, yes, fine.
Yeah, honestly, it makes sense for someone who's never got a taste of how big the power can be to just get overwhelmed with it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if anybody noticed. Oh, God, that was such a shitty dude bro thing to say.
Oh, my goodness.
Ugh.
Oh, God.
Ugh, I'm dirty.
Now the tables have turned.
How the tables have turned. Anyway, when the circle was forming and it went from Amalisa to the Malkiri woman, R.I.P. in peace, to the old lady, I don't know you, to Egwene, from there it was really weak. And then the second it went from Egwene to Nynaeve, it got strong. And then from Nynaeve back to Amalisa, it got stronger.
Yeah.
And she was just like, she tried to Nynaeve without having the Nynaeve plot armor, and she went down for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is too, like, you could see I won't get too much into the conversation because I know Camille, like, that was particularly a favorite of yours, but there was so much desire in her to protect her city. And I think that is what it was that horrible combination of, I want to protect my city and also getting a taste of the one power. And it is like, I mean, it's addictive. They talk about it. It's talked about kind of before, but now we're seeing a very real example of it. And now everyone knows just how dangerous this is. Like, this is not something that you just use just because, and just because you can. It is extremely powerful. And I don't know, I just loved her, and like getting all the women together in the city and like get them all getting ready to protect the city. I just thought it was a really good sequence. It was really well done.
Oh yeah, it was a great sequence.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
And I loved I can feel the whole world, every breath and gust and stone and life, everything. Like, that's such a good line.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and I'll just say that regarding burning out from the power, like, I mean, she just doing what another character is doing at the end of the Eye of the World book. Because there's someone else in that book that just burned out from using too much power, from being overwhelmed by the amount of power. I mean, I think it makes sense. It's in her character. But what I really, really liked about her was really a conversation she got with Agelmar. I really love those characters' moments, those discussions. And also, like, Wheel of Time having good communication. What the fuck?
Not in this series. Not in my Wheel of Time.
What?
But yeah, like, she's been telling her brother for probably months that they were getting more and more Trollocs and it was getting dangerous and they needed help. And now they reach a point where, yes, they should have gotten help, but he didn't listen to her. And she knows the gap won't hold. And he knows it too, but he's still doing that. And I like that Agelmar was, respectable enough to acknowledge that he made a mistake there and to apologize for that, and then to explain why he's still going to do that thing. And it's not because he thinks that he has a chance, but it's because he wants to give the rest of humanity a chance to fight. And in order to do that, he needs to hold as long as he can at the gap. And yeah, it's for two characters that we probably, like, that we will never care about after this episode. It's great character, great moment, and also it gives a bit. I do think it does help with the world building because it really shows what the mentality of Borderlanders are, and I really appreciated that.
I just have to say that for all the book cloaks talking about how the show shit on Robert Jordan's legacy, how much I disagreed with them, until they depicted a man and a woman communicating in a healthy manner. I'm like, y'all just totally betrayed the source material here. Come on.
Come on.
But no, it was a fantastic scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, just thinking about it now, I'm really impressed with the way that the show on a whole in the first season has taken kind of side characters and made us care, like has given them actual depth and has made us feel like, oh, I feel some kind of connection to them, to the point where when something happens, we're like, oh, well, shit. Like, like it's
well, shit.
Well, shit.
Well, heck.
That wasn't very Cash Money.
Yeah.
Cash money.
Cash money.
But it's good because so it does give us some tension because the thing is that we know the main characters, like it's not Game of Thrones. Most of the main characters are going to stay fine for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So we still need to build some tensions. But since they keep giving us like side characters that we really appreciate and we want to root for, and then bad things happens to them, we're like, okay, yes, it's still a bit tense.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite or a parallel.
Mm-hmm.
It's safe to be a main character in Wheel of Time, but it is not safe to be a side character.
Not at all.
Nope.
I will say, going back to Agilmar for just a second, one of my favorite moments from him this episode was when he said, "May the last embrace of the mother welcome you home," because he said it like it was a catchphrase and he was a superhero. He said it like it was, "By darkest day, by blackest night, no evil will escape my sight."
He was going Green Lantern.
He was going full, like, I have to say this, prepare to die. Like, it was the Team Rocket monologue he did by himself.
I am the Dark Knight.
It was just, I like how he delivered that line.
Yeah.
I like that it's the second time we're getting that line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep. It's very good.
to what do we want to move?
Okay.
Go for it.
I want to talk about, so Moraine pulling the knife is my favorite thing in the entire episode. Literally, that is up there with like Nynaeve being a raging sun for me, because she just said, you know what? Okay, yeah, I'm shielded. That sucks. But guess what? I can still stab this bitch. He can still die. I will fuck him up. And every time they did a close-up of the knife and it got like closer and closer and then blood started running, I was like, kill him. Just fucking kill him.
Do it.
Just do it.
James just hates Rand.
I don't hate Rand, but I wanted her to kill him because I was like, this will be good for your character, Moraine. Just do it. You'll figure it out. You got this.
It'll be fine.
You'll stab him. It's fine.
I like that we actually got to see the knife in the first scene of the season, and now we're seeing it again. Everything comes full circle.
Well, there's another thing we're seeing for the first time since the cold open as well, but we'll get to that in Changes Scary.
Ah, yes.
Well.
Matt, I think you had, yes, that moment.
Oh, yeah. A brief one is that, and this is just a running theme for the whole season, I think one thing they did perfectly was the set pieces, making them feel distinct. So Tarwin's Gap, Valdar are like really beautiful, so much intricacy in what they did. And I'll say that for episode 7 as well, since I was out. But also, just to wrap up my favorite moments, the "I will hate the man you choose" speech between Lan and Nynaeve, it was just so wonderful. It was lovely. Like, I rarely care much for heterosexual romances unless it's Jane Austen or Charles Dickens writing it, but this was just so fantastic. I mean, really, like, for as many criticisms as I have at this episode, and I have a lot, this scene was so perfect. Like, 10 out of 10, no comments, except for how perfect and beautiful and perfect it was.
Yeah, my note for that in the Chaos Talk was, okay, I don't approve of heterosexuality except for right now.
They're okay. They're safe.
There are pet hets.
There are
Pet hats.
Oh my god.
Aw. I will say, I was a stupid motherfucker, and when I was live tweeting this episode, I was like, when he said, "You're a lioness," Wisdom, I said, do they even have lions in the Wheel of Time? Because I don't see a lion.
Wasn't there one in the,
No, and there was, I don't think there was, but then Billy Todd, Wheel of Cussin and the Sanderson track director was like, "The Lions of Andor?" you dumb motherfucker. And I'm like, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I guess they do have lions.
They most certainly do.
I guess there are. Okay, that makes sense. But I was like, I was genuinely like baffled. When do we see a lion? We don't see a lion really.
No.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's funny because the first time I watched that scene, I kind of didn't care about that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I rewatched that with a friend and I wasn't paying attention to the episode, and then that scene come up and she was like, damn, that's a good line. I was like, you think?
I am very susceptible to what other people think influencing my opinions of things, unfortunately. And if I hear someone's perspective and I'm like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I got that. That's now my opinion.
Yeah, maybe I'm a bit like that too.
I don't have original thoughts. When I do, they're not good.
I mean,
Relatable.
it's I relate to that heavily.
Kat, you had something about
The
the Dark One.
Dark One. Yeah, he was so manipulative and so menacing. I think like he was a very good final boss, would you call it? I guess kind of.
Yeah.
He was a good final boss. I liked that we're now seeing, because up until this point, kind of, with the exception of Nynaeve, Moiraine has been the most skilled channeler that viewers have seen. They haven't seen anyone really more skilled than her. And even with Nynaeve, it's been like bursts of power, and then that's kind of it. But Moiraine is very obviously trained and skilled in the power. She knows what she's doing. And then all of a sudden, here comes this dude who is like very clear, like it's like child's play to him. It was like nothing. Like he very quickly like dismissed her weave and then did his own that fucked her up and was like,
and fuck my drag, right?
Fuck her drag. The Dark One stood there and said directly to Moiraine, fuck your drag specifically. And that's what happened.
Fuck this Aes Sedai specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't necessarily like this relates. The Dark One's weaves didn't have any of the black stuff around it. So
They did not. Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Much to consider.
I had not thought about that.
Yeah, no, because every other time we've seen the one power wielded by a man, it's pure for like a half second, and then you see the black taint around it. So,
There was no taint.
I'm sorry, the corruption. We have to be PC.
The tainties.
The tainties. Ugh, gross.
He's got a little case of the tainties.
Camille, you had a couple of other points here.
I guess I can talk maybe about, since we were talking about the Dark One, I can say that I really enjoy what they did with Rand's fight with him. It was a bit anticlimactic, I would say.
Yeah.
To do something like that, because you would expect for final battle against the final boss to be, something impressive, big fight of channeling and scouting, and it's not that. It's a fight of will. And I like that because it's a theme that do come back a few times in the Wheel of Time. That not all battle are being fight with a sword or like against, Trollocs and this kind of thing. And yeah, it's where the fight for humanity took place, with Rand basically looking at his perfect world and figuring out, yes, it's nice, but that's not what she wants. This is not free will, and we all deserve free will. She does too. So fuck that guy, basically.
Yeah.
And I like that.
It was beautiful.
Plus, like, I don't know, I don't see often depiction of men actually caring for what like a woman wants in that situation. It's always like, I'm gonna make my dreams come true. And no, it's like, yeah, but what about her dreams?
The tragedy is that she doesn't have dreams either, because she's Ta'Veren, and my argument is that Ta'Veren have no free will in this world.
Look, that is going to be addressed later. Thank you. Please be quiet.
Hey, I didn't spoil nothing.
No, just be quiet.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I loved the conversations between Rand and Moiraine, because in the books, that is my favorite relationship. And I love the small moments that they were able to capture, not just in this episode, a lot was in this episode, but in this season as well. And when Rand is like, when you said everyone would die, that includes you, right? And Moraine just stares at him, like, questioning his intelligence. Like, thank God. Thank God you're going to die after this, probably. So I don't think the world can handle you, boy. And then he tries to stop her, and she just goes on and doesn't say anything. It's just super cute.
Yeah.
And I think that encapsulates their relationship, and it's just nice. Like, he went from, like, hating her to actually realizing that she is just a woman doing her job.
Basically.
Like, that's just her job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a job that nobody asked her to do, but she's still doing the job.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and I think my last really favorite moment was Pat and Fane's monologue. We finally get an explanation about what Tavern are, even if it's a short explanation, and I'm sure the show will get deeper into what exactly this means. But yeah, your Tavern, all 5 of you, focal points for the will.
Yeah.
And also I like that he emphasized that sure, Rand is a dragon reborn, but all 5 of them matter. And that's something that is good to reinforce, both for book readers who sometimes feel like Rand is the center of everything and that's it, and also for show viewer who have been wondering for a while who the hell is a dragon reborn, and now has like to figure out. Like, some of them may be disappointed because it's not the characters they preferred, but now they know that all of them still gonna matter, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, they're all going to be super powerful in their own right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, Pat and Fane's speech was really amazing because Pat and Fane in the books is less coherent. And making the Dark Friends, like, this is maybe making the Dark Friends have a reason, and make them a little bit more plausible and sane is a very good choice. And Pat and Fane, pretty much, the speech was up there with Dana's in episode 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's I appreciate that they're giving more depth to the Dark Friends, because, like, yeah, some of them are just doing it because they can and because they want to,
Right?
And that's I'm perfectly okay with that. But I like that we're getting a balance to that, obviously, too, where it's not just like they're not just doing it because. There are reasons behind it. They may not be reasons that anyone else relates to or that anyone else finds valid at all, but there are reasons behind it. And we got, like with the sort of glimpses with Min's vision in the last episode, seeing how important she's like, they are all linked. They're all sort of tied together somehow. And then we got the confirmation this episode from Fane saying, like, you're all Ta'Veren. You are all, like, they are all crucial to what is happening right now. And I think it's, I don't know. I just think it's a really cool concept that it's not just like one person. We're like, obviously, yes, Rand is important and he is the dragon and he is going to determine things in a very, very crucial way, but they all are as well. Like, it's not just Rand. And I liked that reminder that, like, like you said, James, not just for show only fans, but for book fans too. Like,
That was Camille.
Oh, it was Camille. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
My brain. Oh no.
I know. I am also a French Sapphic.
You are. Yes, it's true.
God, I'm everybody on this podcast.
I know.
I'm everything. It's all in me.
I still don't recognize that song, but I know you've sung it before on this podcast.
All right. Do we want to get to the change?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're all going to go through the change together, guys.
We're all going through the change.
Yes, because there have been some big changes and some people were mad, which is, I think it's wise. I think this episode is the one with the lowest rating on IMDb.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a bad episode. I think it was not a great episode. And I think it's kind of the scapegoat of the season. But yeah, people big mad.
And, like, to a certain point, I get it, but also I'm like, okay, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Who wants to get us started? Matt, maybe.
Yeah, I'll start. I mean, I think it's like the whole, people who are going to hate the show no matter what, like, I don't really pay attention to them because they hated on... If you hated on the Swan Moraine episode, then your opinion means nothing to me automatically, because that's just some damn good storytelling. I do think there's some criticisms to be had, and I'm probably the most critical of the four of us about the last episode. I wouldn't use it as a personal scapegoat because I still rank the season super high, and I'm like thirsty AF for the next season. I think you can like and dislike aspects of a show. It's like with Stranger Things, I couldn't care less about some of the characters at this point, but I still love the fuck out of the fourth season. But anyways, one of the changes that I wasn't crazy about, that didn't, also I wasn't like just whatever, was the Blight. And I think I changed my mind halfway through writing that because like I don't like the design of the Blight all that much compared to the way it's described in the books. But I think the way that they made it into a sort of living thing that like latches onto you if you stay still for more than, you know, such and such amount of time was really cool. So like, yeah, some of the Blight changes I didn't care for, but I also, if I separate my book idea of the Blight, I did kind of like what we got in the show.
Well, I mean, in the books, I don't think they're really described visually. Like, there's some, like, they're all barren trees. I remember that. There's not really any life, but it's more of like a feeling. And then there's evil things that live there and screaming all the time. Like, okay, I get that.
I guess there's more biodiversity in the Blight in the books.
It did feel a little Maleficent cursing the realm in Sleeping Beauty.
I think that now that's my issue with it, is that there's a lot of corrupted biodiversity, but there's trees, there's flowers, there's vines, bushes, lakes, and they're all corrupted, but it's like to this biodiversity, whereas the Blight in the show is just like, oh, here's some thorns because Maleficent cursed Malkier.
Cursed the Blight. Maleficent cursed the Blight.
She cursed the Blight. That's what so it's seeing all the different aspects of what the Blight does in the books versus the show, where we get some really cool stuff, like the guy with the fungus that I mentioned in the intro. That was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
No, I do too.
I did think it was very one note. So
Yes. Yeah.
It was a cool note, but one note.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I think they were supposed to film the Blight somewhere else and then had to change it last minute because of COVID restrictions.
Yes.
Like a lot of things had to change. And so watching it again, it's very much colored by hearing about all of the stuff that needed to be changed very last minute. And it's changed the way I think I kind of viewed the episode, because like they were able to pull this together with all of that shit.
Right.
And that is impressive. That is impressive to me, because that sounds like a whole lot of anxiety where like pretty much everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And they were able to create a mostly coherent episode that had some really good beats to it and did what it was supposed to do. It accomplished the job for the most part. You know what? I had completely forgotten about the biodiversity in the Blight, though, Matt. And so that's a very good point. It seemed very empty, like, which I know, like it's the Blight, but it seemed emptier.
There are different kinds of emptiness.
Yeah, exactly. And I suspect that if they were able to do more, they would have. And it was just, I don't know. Who knows? It's impossible to tell. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
I think we probably can move on.
Do we want to talk about the big one? The circle?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that.
My only comment about that is that yes, Channing is dangerous, and yes, Lincoln can also be dangerous in the show. It wasn't in the books. That's fine. It's a good change because it's raised the stake. And that's the only thing I have to say about that, honestly. I know people were big mad, and I could not care less.
Yeah, I remember watching it and not caring for it because I was like, this isn't... I have two sides to me. One side where I'm just appreciative, but I have to get past the book cloak in me because it very much exists, and I'm sorry.
You're allowed to have criticisms, though.
No, I am, and I'm allowed to not like it. Like, I don't love it fully. It's still not amazing, but I don't hate it because I see the reasons that they did it, and it makes sense. Channeling is dangerous. This ups the stakes, like Camille said. It doesn't matter that there's not a buffer. Okay, yes, whatever. Sorry, that's not really channeling and linking is linking is much safer in the books.
Yes.
So, small spoiler. But people were upset. They were like, how did she learn how to learn about circles at all? She was in the White Tower, okay?
Exactly.
Oh, see, that part I don't care about. I don't give a shit about the mechanics of linking and circling. I was fine with that.
I did not care for the fact that there were so many pointless deaths, fake outs in this episode. And the one I cared for the least was Nynaeve's.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it. I didn't like it. I don't think it should have made it in the final cut. End of story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, while we're on the top, because it, relates to mine as well. There's only so much you can give them with COVID and Barney leaving and having so many.
Yeah, I'm like, this was a choice.
It was a choice, yeah.
We have at least 2, possibly more fake out deaths. We have Moraine in the Blight. I did not like that. It was dumb. I'm sorry. There are other ways to introduce the Dark One into Rand's dreams. Like the bat. Have him deep throat another bat. I mean, we like it. We like a sexy redhead boy who deep throats bats.
Oh, no.
The whole killing Moraine thing was boring and trite and overdone. And then, yes, we had the Nynaeve fake out death. And at some point I was like, did Nynaeve actually die? Because you see Amalisa and the others, like their eyes are totally burnt out, like they're husks. Whereas Nynaeve is burnt, but you can see her eyes and the makeup isn't as heavy, but still, it's still just...
It's a lot.
Add that to the point, or to the end of the episode, where we have some characters who may be dead, but they also might not be dead into the next season.
Like Loyal, yes.
Like Loyal. And maybe Uno, because I think Uno was just groaning or something on the grounds. But come on. You did not need that many fake out deaths. It was just so much.
It was a lot.
There was also Egwene in the dream world when the Dark One slit her throat and then unslit her throat.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why do we need all of this?
Yeah.
It doesn't achieve to me, it didn't achieve the shit's dangerous. I already know shit's dangerous. I already know it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I think there was a lot. This episode could have been edited quite a bit, even like quite a bit more than it was. I'm sure it was already edited. Like, they could have removed several things, and it would have been probably a better episode, to be completely honest.
And I don't think this is a spoiler because we really don't know, but aren't there rumors that Agomar is not dead?
Yeah.
Probably alive, yeah, because he said his superhero thing. He said his catchphrase.
I think there's rumors that the actors was in Prague when season 2 was started to be filmed.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe he was there for another reason. We don't know if it's actually for the Wheel of Time or not.
Right.
And if Agomar does come back, you know what would have been a great way of doing that? It's just to not show him getting shanked by a fucking lance.
This is the thing.
It's like, don't show a death.
Right. Let us wonder.
Let us theorize.
The Trollocs overran...
Like, show the Trollocs coming.
Exactly. Let them run over Tarwin's Gap.
Yeah.
Have Amalisa say, okay, he died. We all assume that's the truth because, of course, it is. And then maybe he struggles. Maybe he fights. But no, he had to get a spear to the chest.
Yeah.
And now it's, with all the fake outs, just like, oh no, this character got decapitated. I wonder if they're going to be alive next season because, maybe some magic will undead them or something.
To be fair, Algemar would not be the first fantasy character to get like a spear in his freaking chest and still being completely fine.
This is true.
Frodo in The Lord of the Ring.
Well, this is the thing. Yeah.
Jon Snow's the best.
That didn't pierce him, actually. We don't know if Agomar got pierced.
Yeah, we'll see next season. But yes, I agree. It's too many fake.
It was a lot.
Like fake death. I'm hoping they heard that criticism and will slow down with that.
Yeah.
Let's save Moraine's thing for the very end. Okay. Because I think that's the other big topic.
That's the other big one. Yeah. Next, I guess we can talk a bit about the horn and all of that stuff. I don't know how to feel about it exactly. And I mean, they were very limited. I recognize they were limited in options because Matt was literally not there. Like, Matt was not there to be properly tied into this storyline. So there's that. I don't care about it being under the throne. I don't care about that. It's just I don't know how this is going to tie together. I don't know how I feel about it. Is what I think.
We'll have to save a bit of our discussion for the next episode because so much of it is spoilery.
This is the thing.
In the books, Matt has more of a connection with the horn. Not really a spoiler, it's just...
No.
Which makes sense because he's the horniest character.
Exactly.
I mean, there's an indication to that in this episode with Padan Fain having the dagger that Matt had, because
Right.
usually, like, in the books, it takes the dagger from Matt.
Exactly.
So I think it was, they had to introduce the horn for season 2.
Yeah.
I can't think of a different way they could have done it, I guess. So I'm not angry.
No. That's the thing. Neither can I. I can't think of any other way that because it had to have been introduced in season 1 for it to,
Yeah.
because it had to have. So I don't know how else they would have done it. I just don't. I'm very much of a, like, I'm on a wait and see
Yeah, but that's fine.
kind of thing right now with this. Yeah.
It's better than if they just found it if Moraine just found it like on the ground in the blight and like picked it up.
What's this?
It's better than that.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, some people were mad about it being under the throne and being like, why would they put there? Why would they not use it? I'm like, it's the Borderlands. If they have some magical, powerful items that they're supposed to keep for the last battle, feels very Borderlands to keep that somewhere and actually have it secure. It's a Borderlands. They're good.
Yeah.
Speaking of magical items that they just keep out of nowhere, people were big mad about the Sa'angreal too.
Oh my god.
First of all, that they changed it to a Sa'angreal because normally it's just an Angreal. Who gives a fuck?
It's fine.
But the fact that she packed it, and I don't think in this episode they say that only a man could use it. She did say that men poured all of their power into it, but I don't think she
Yeah.
said that it can only be used by a man.
I don't remember her saying that either.
It's implied.
Yes, it is.
But people were like, why did she bring it if she thinks Egwene is the Dragon Reborn? Because, you know what, there's a 50-50 fucking chance that it might have been a dude. And if she has a powerful tool in case it's a dude, she's gonna bring it.
Of course.
Yeah.
She has contingency upon contingency upon contingency. She would have linked with the person if it was a woman.
Right.
Like, it's just...
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's even easier than that. Like, bitch had a whole hotel room to herself. She, like, had a whole vacation's worth of suitcases with her, basically. She could have brought it along. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I know that Rand is a dragon now. Let me grab Mr. Butters. That's his name in my...
Mr. Butters. I mean, it's better than Fat Man Angreal.
Well,
Yes.
this is true.
So she's like, oh, it's Rand. So that means I need Mr. Butters. So we'll bring him along with us to the Blight. Like, she could have just grabbed it from her, I don't know, from her backpack or something. Just get over it, people.
Yeah.
I love that the Fat Man Angreal is literally just a Buddha.
I mean, yeah. Well.
Like, that's literally what it's described. Like, I love it.
There's a few more notes. Matt, do you want to go to yours?
Oh, the Padan Fain one? I just want to say that I like how elevated his presence is in the show, and I have more to say about that in the full spoilers version. Sorry, I realized like halfway through that what I wanted to say is like full spoilers, so...
That's fine. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
I hated the change, and I have no real reason for hating this. No, I do. It's valid. I'm valid. My feelings are valid.
There you go.
I hated that they changed it from Nynaeve not tracking Lan to tracking Moraine, and then pointlessly saying that she had a tell. Like, okay, so first of all, what is the fucking tell? First of all, what is it? The best theory I've heard is that she sheds, like, fur somewhere from her blue cloak or something. It gets taken. That's the best thing I've seen. And it's stupid.
It'd be pretty funny.
That would be very funny.
What? I get that the purpose is to give Lan a way to follow Moraine, but he's a fucking warder that's been bonded to her for 20 years. Even though the bond is masked, he has tracked this woman probably. He knows. He's a badass. Why take away from Nynaeve to give to Lan?
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
It's stupid and I hate it, and shame.
I think if he really wants, because he wants to talk to Nynaeve, I think the only thing that could have made sense is that no, Nynaeve doesn't know to track them, but she tells them, yes, go fucking find them, because it's like she's masks the bond, which is a clear indication she doesn't want to be followed. But even then, I'm like, yeah, but it's Lan. Lan wouldn't let Moraine do that dumb shit without following her. So yeah, it's weird.
It's silly.
It's just stupid. It was a needless change, and there were so many things that they could have done instead, and it takes away from Nynaeve, who is the second best character in this show, and it's not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the best character in the show, Moraine.
Moraine, which I think it's going to be... Moraine is shielded. She's not steeled. A lot of people were like, is she steeled? Is she shielded? Like, do you have fucking eyes?
Yeah, she's definitely shielded.
Especially book reader who thinks she's steeled. I'm sorry. You should be ashamed of yourself.
They should know better.
You should know better.
You stupid bitch.
The Dark One literally tells Moraine, like, ooh, you can feel it, but you can't touch it. That's literally shielding.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There are so many clues. There are so many.
I still don't like that writing choice, but still, let's get it right.
But anyway, my point wasn't even about the shield versus stealing. My point is just, she's not supposed to lose her power at the end of the first book, and now she has lost them. And people are like, oh, this is a big change. What is she gonna do if she cannot channel? She's gonna do her badass stuff, whatever. She figured it out. She's Moraine. I'm fine with that. It's gonna be very exciting to see that too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, not to talk a little bit more about season 2, but Rafe has said, like, she doesn't do that much in The Great Hunt.
Exactly.
So you have this star, Rosamund Pike, playing Moraine. You don't give her nothing to do. You give her something to do. You make changes to make her the best version of herself / Moraine that she can be. And just fucking deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's move to our general comments. Matt, do you want to add some more on the shielded and stealed thing, or are you fine?
No, I think I'm good. I mean, I just on, like, rewatch, it was so obvious what was happening. In general comments, like, yeah, I think this is... Oh, I don't know. I don't think I would... I have a difficult time, like, ranking whether I like this episode or episode 5 the least, because both have excellent moments in them. I would say probably I would prefer this over episode 5, because despite how many parts I thought were just so stupid, like the fake out deaths, there were a lot of really cool sequences, and I think there were more cool sequences in this episode than there were in episode 5. So overall, I don't know. It's like...
Yeah.
It's like stepchildren. Which one do you like the least? You don't know. And you can't really say which one you don't like the least.
Meanwhile, I like episode 5 in my second best, right after episode 6.
Yeah.
But it's also because, yeah, like from every of my favorite moments in most of the episode, I'm into character moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 5 had, yep.
A lot of character moments. Yeah.
And episode 5 is really good for that. So it depends what you're into. I think it's fine.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
Yeah, we aren't kink shaming here.
It's like I posted on my Twitter circles that I just didn't care much for this episode, and I flat out hated parts of it, but that's okay. It doesn't, like, me not liking it is not a personal attack on people who do like it. It's not an attack on Rafe. Like, I don't think Kamia's wrong for liking episode 5. I don't think I'm right for disliking it. It's just opinions.
Yeah.
And as long as we're respectful and realize that, like, different things are going to appeal to different people, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that means that's fine. You can be wrong. That's okay too.
Okay, bitch.
I'm kidding.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. James, you have so many points in your general comments. I feel like I should let you deal with some of them.
Okay, let's give me 5 minutes. Let me know when I'm at the 3-minute mark. Okay, so I loved Titty Fade. I loved Titty Fade so much. I love that they just said, okay, you know what? Women can be evil too. Women can be Murdral too. Because we don't know if women Murdral exist. I think they're all men in the books. I don't care. That's stupid. Moraine waiting to have her breakdown until Lan shows up and she knows it's safe. Mm-hmm. She was going to wait. Mm-hmm. She was going to hold it together until she got back to Faldara and then have her moment. But then Lan showed up and it's okay now. I love it. It was so sweet. Rand is amazing in this episode. I am getting to the point where I am like Camille, or not Camille, I'm sorry. I'm getting to the point where I'm like where Kat said a feral, like, protector of Rand because he is so sweet in this episode. He's so sweet. He's such a little precious thing.
A little baby. He's just a little baby.
Hey, it's my 5 minutes. Stop talking.
It's a little feller.
No. So I am curious about what the ring the Dark One is wearing is, because they did a couple of close-ups of it. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I did mention all the fake deaths. That was stupid. Stupid. Was the ending weird? Yes. Did I like the whole dream bit with Rand and his alternate reality with Egwene and Joya? No. Was it any more weird than the ending of the book? Absolutely not. It's a fucking weird book. So you know what? It's fine.
Yeah.
That was under 5 minutes. I'm proud of myself.
Look at you.
Yes, it was actually pretty quick. That was not even 2 minutes, I think.
Yeah, that was good.
Kat, do you want to go next or do you want to go last?
I can go. I'll go now. I'll go now because I have it in my brain. I don't have specific things, honestly. It's just general. I thought it was a very solid season. The episode not my favorite. I don't think it's a bad episode necessarily. It was comparatively, there were other episodes that were much, much stronger, but this was not like, I've seen worse episodes of television for sure than this one. This was not a bad episode by any means. I appreciated how they balanced just throughout the season, how they balanced the flow of information, and balanced like how much, okay, we're going to give this amount of lore so that the book fans have something that excites them. And then also it's going to intrigue the show only fans that have never read the books before. But it's not going to be too much for them so that it's overwhelming, because this series, there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of stuff to it. Just like the magic system alone, there's a lot to it. And I feel like they did a very good job at balancing all of that out so that they hit all of the basics of like, okay, this is channeling. This is essentially how it works. This is like who can use it, who can't. They established a difference between what it looks like when women use it versus men using it. I just think they did a very good job at sort of balancing the flow of details so that we're not too bogged down, but there was enough stuff for us to, get excited for. And also, I liked that there were things that I was not expecting. I liked some of the changes that they made because as a book, we've read the books before. I've read the books before. I know what happens. If I wanted to read the books again and get the same experience, I would just read it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think with the changes, it's just, again, if I wanted to read the books, and I know what happens at the end of the series.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the show, I know pretty much what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's the how they get there and the small changes they make and seeing it depicted on the screen. That's really the most amazing thing for me. So
yeah,
if you can keep me excited and guessing, then thank you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not reasonable to expect us to love every change or to hate every change. Like, some we're going to love, like the lesbian fish fuck hut. That was an amazing change. The fake out deaths, not so much. But yeah, it's like, and like, even with all my criticisms of this episode in episode 5, like, it's still a good show. Like, I'm not saying it's bad writing. I've watched the CW, okay? I've seen bad writing. I've watched Glee. Like, Wheel of Time is above that. Even at its worst, Wheel of Time is better than most of what you get on TV, in my opinion.
Future episode idea for us.
Mm-hmm.
We find the lowest ranked episode of Glee on IMDb and watch it, and then...
Oh, no. Please don't make me go back there. I can't. I have PTSD I have trauma from it, from my Glee days.
Okay, how about when we get to 10,000 downloads?
Okay, I'll do it then.
Cool, we're already at 8,000, so...
Oh, fuck you. Oh my god. I didn't know we were that close.
I was about to say that, Kat. We are really close to...
Shit!
Really close to the 10K.
Oh god.
And I love that you talked again about the fake death, Matt, because that reminded me that actually, the ending of The Eye of the World is everyone knocked down. It's fake death of a fake death of a fake death. Maybe they just got very inspired by the ending of The Eye of the World book.
hey, it's consistent. At the very least, it's consistent.
Yeah.
But to go back to the general comment, I would say that I agree that episode 8 is a bit weaker than most episodes of this season. I'm fine with it because we know what's happened behind the scene. We know about COVID. We know that it affected the writing, the VFX. There was a lot of constraint with how many people you could have, what people could do when they were sharing a scene. And I'm like, they did the best they could with whatever shit was going on. But it's still very enjoyable. There's some great bits, there's some parts that don't make sense, and that's okay. Overall, I do think it's a very good first season. It set up well most of the main characters, I would say. Mm-hmm. Some a bit less than others, but it's a first season. We're going to have 8 seasons. There's plenty of time to see how that goes. I do think the first season had a good main question regarding who is the Dragon Reborn. I love that change. I think it made perfect sense, and it kept a lot of non-readers entertained and kept them guessing, and that was the best thing they could do about that. And also, like, that first season leaves many open threads to be answered in future season. So we are wondering what the hell is going to happen in season 2. And I mean, that's good, because if we knew already what everything's going to happen, that would be boring as hell. And sure, of course, not everything has been explained yet, but that's okay. As Kat said, we need a good balance between how much information we are giving to non-readers to not overwhelm them, and let's just leave the show the time it needs to build its world. Yeah, and that's it.
Absolutely.
Anything else to add to this first part? Can we move to the outro? Who wants to do the outro?
I think we can move to the next part.
Yeah.
Outro. Matt, do it.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode.
Okay, a bit more enthusiasm, maybe.
Slightly less dead sounding.
Listen, bitch, I don't get commanded around by nobody. It's called malicious compliance. Now, let us ask Matt to please do it, and then perhaps I will...
Matt?
Please do what I tell you to.
Matt, can you please do the outro with a little bit more enthusiasm?
Thank you, Kat. You're so sweet. This is why you're my favorite. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Queers of Time podcast. If you liked our show, please give us a review on Apple Podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Queers of Time, and on our Discord server. And if you're able, we'd love to have your support through Patreon. We've got a lot of nice benefits there, and this helps us cover the costs of producing the podcasts. Thank you.
Money, please.
See you soon in the second part, which is going to be with full spoilers.
Yeah, full spoilers.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for listening. This was Queers of Time, a Wheel of Time podcast. The music is Dance of the Witches by Julius H.